We're week 5 into our 23 weeks of Star Trek, meaning we've got a brand new episode of Star Trek Lower Decks to watch and talk about this week. Hey everyone, my name is Captain Jack and welcome to Trek Central. Star Trek Lower Decks Episode 5 has aired this morning on CBS All Access and CTV Sci-Fi. It'll later stream on Crave, also in Canada. Episode 5 is written by Ben Joseph and directed by Kim Errant. The premise of the 5th episode, titled Cupid's Errant Arrow, the USS Cerritos assists in a controlled demolition of an unstable moon, while Ensign Boimler gets to spend some quality time with his girlfriend. Who would have guessed that he had a girlfriend, am I right? Before we do warp in, if you are new around here, then make sure to hit that subscribe button to never miss a video. We'll be here every week reviewing brand new episodes of Star Trek Lower Decks as they air. Also, on Sundays at 9 PM BST, catch us live on YouTube as we discuss the new episodes with special guests and answer your questions. Looking forward to seeing you there. Spoiler warning, we'll of course be discussing the 5th episode of Star Trek Lower Decks in full. So be warned, there will be spoilers for the Lower Decks Season 1, Episode 5. You have been warned. Okay, let's jump into this. The opening to this episode includes no cold open this week, nothing before the opening sequence at all. The last episode also didn't include a cold open, and I hope they come back in future episodes. I personally found the cold opens were extremely funny for a short amount of time, so I hope we see more of those weird cold opens in the future, even if it's another rendition of the United Federation of characters. I think the series might be attempting to find the perfect balance between opening shots for Lower Decks. Cold opens can work, but not all the time. The USS Cerritos is assisting the USS Vancouver, a Parliament-class starship that specializes in complex, large-scale engineering projects in safely imploding a moon. I have to say that this new class of ship, the Parliament class, is absolutely amazing and looks pretty damn cool. The Vancouver is obviously more advanced, more so than the USS Cerritos, which is a running theme throughout this entire series. I like how we're introduced to the Vancouver as it appears on screen and just completely eclipses the Cerritos, once again showing us that the starship isn't the best in the fleet. Honestly, from the way this episode displays it, the Vancouver is like a B-Tech Enterprise, with it seemingly always doing super impressive missions, while ships like the Cerritos get relegated to the side missions, which aren't that interesting or important. Then again, this is the premise we've been introduced to so far about the series. The people of the planet don't actually believe the moon will affect them, saying it's a government conspiracy, despite I guess the people meeting with Starfleet officials are also government representatives. The way that people here are denying the obvious almost reflects some events in real life, where people sometimes deny common sense when it's plainly in their face. Ensign Rutherford says that Vancouver has fluidic processors, which could be similar to the binaural processors that were on the USS Voyager, or a brand new type of processor. This line is most likely here to describe how top of the line the Vancouver is compared to that of the Cerritos, again making that comparison that the ship isn't that the important one in the actual fleet. Speaking of which, we are being treated to more Federation starships as of late. This is a fandom message as of recent, due to the fact we have not seen many Federation and Starfleet vessels in modern Star Trek. Picard didn't really include that many, and the end battle was only starships of a similar class, they kind of looked very similar. While Discovery Season 2 only really focused on the USS Discovery and the USS Enterprise, not counting the Section 31 Armada. So of course it's great to be treated to more Starfleet starships. Enterprise soon, yeah, come on, or the Odyssey class, a man could dream. An interesting thing to note is that the shuttles on the USS Vancouver are named after residential districts in the city of Vancouver. We see the shuttle Fairview, Marpole, and Kitsilano. Ensign Boimler has arrived with gifts for his girlfriend, a bundle of flowers, very romantic, and a Geordi LaForge teddy, even with a little visor. I do wonder if Starfleet has a gift shop where officers can buy stuffed versions of their favourite Enterprise crew. Who wouldn't a teddy bear war for a random Riker bear? Yeah, but at the same time, you can just replicate whatever you want. Thinking about it, replicating items must make shopping 101 times easier. Might have to get me one of those. The species of the Solosians are mentioned. They're sentient plant people from the animated series. We also find out that Brad is Bradwood. Such an interesting name, but I wouldn't be surprised that someone in our current world is also called Bradwood. To be honest, if you are, let us know. It's revealed that Brad's girlfriend, Barbara, used to date a Cerritos officer called Lieutenant Jet, who is described as a Kirk Sunday with Trip Tucker sprinkles. I am so glad we are referencing the best officer of the NX-01 Enterprise, Trip Tucker. Personally, I'm actually watching Star Trek Enterprise once again, so it's fantastic to hear references to the series I am currently watching. Ensign Mariner begins to recount a tale where she was aboard the USS Quito, which would have had to happen in the year of 2379. The Quito is actually docked to what seems to be Deep Space Nine. Yes, you heard me, we have finally seen the return of DS9, or at least another Cardassian mining platform, but let's be honest, this is DS9. There is also a reference to one of the many Borg incidents on the USS Enterprise D, in which Data's evil brother, Lore, decided to work some Borg drones. Of course, this is a reference to the Star Trek Next Generation episode Descent Part 1 and Part 2, a great little two-parter for the Next Generation. And that isn't all. The Starfleet officers there are wearing the Starfleet uniforms popularized in the film First Contact, and then filtering into Star Trek Deep Space Nine. It's amazing to see these uniforms, and it really cements Lower Decks into having occurred in the Star Trek world we've been familiar with. One detail you might miss if you're not watching closely is that the USS Cerritos, which has been mentioned several times in Star Trek Lower Decks, appears to be an Olympic-class vessel. This class was famously seen in The Next Generation, where it was heavily featured in the Next Generation series final, All Good Things. The USS Passenger was commanded by Captain Beverly Picard until it was destroyed. Mariner is seen with two of her friends who are dating, but unfortunately the guy turns out to be some sort of face-eating monster as his face melts off and he kills his former partner in front of Mariner. This is why Mariner has such a hard time seeing her friends with partners who are too good to be true. Because of her experience, they are typically too good to be true. Meanwhile, while all of this is going on, of course the senior staff of the Cerritos are actually trying to get the job done, as Captain Freeman is trying her best to accommodate everyone. The captain actually diplomatically solves the scenario by making all of the aliens agree that the terms allow Starfleet to implode the moon. However, of course, one alien is not satisfied and will not allow Starfleet to go through with it. The sideline plot of this episode is that Ensign Tendi and Ensigns Rutherford are working together aboard the Vancouver, after being assigned to a mission by the chief engineer, Lieutenant Commander Ron Descent, who is actually voiced by guest star Matt Walsh. Their mission would have seen them being given a T-88, which is a brand new tool that is not available aboard the Cerritos. No surprise there then. The side plot of this episode is interesting and all, but I'd really like to see all four ensigns working together on a task again sometime in the future. We've seen it in episode 1 if I recall correctly, but other than that, not much. Whether we'll see it in a future episode, I'm unsure, but hopefully so. Mariner has a conspiracy web around pictures of Barbara, trying to figure out what Barbara is. She plays with numerous theories, whether she's a Cardassian spy, a changeling, a transporter clone, or a Suliban. We're really getting a lot of Enterprise references in this episode. I guess the writer of episode 5 really loves Star Trek Enterprise. I mean, I can't blame them, it's a great series. Of course, a lot of the references on the actual, board she's looking at are also things that have happened in Star Trek before. A Cardassian spy made to look like another species, we've seen it a couple times. Seska was also somebody who's transformed on board USS Voyager. A transporter clone, the clone of Riker. A changeling, obviously DS9 will explain that one, straight up. And also a Suliban as well. The chase scene of Mariner going after Ensign Boimler and his potentially evil parasitic girlfriend is kind of funny. She barges other officers out of the way who are just trying to do their job, even getting in a sly comment about Jennifer as she dons an EVA suit and jumps out of the ship, hopping through the mobile platforms while the moon prepares for destruction. Entering the mobile unit, Ensign Mariner is treated to that awkward scene we first see in the Lower Decks trailer, which is of course Ensign Boimler naked in a chair without his uniform. You can guess what his intentions are here without me having to explain it, but being Lower Decks, nothing goes to plan and he's knocked out cold. This of course leads Mariner to fight Lieutenant Brinson, which does lead to them eventually making friends after laughing over Boimler's failed romantic and diplomatic attempts, all while he's still lying out cold on the floor. Poor Brad. The two actually do realise that there was a parasite latched onto Boimler, not Barbara, like Mariner originally thought. A neat little detail, the parasite is actually somewhat speaking in a super high-pitched voice about wanting to do various things. It's kind of funny if you ask me. Part of that thinks this is a reference to something in sci-fi, but honestly I can't put my hands on it. I'm sure you guys will figure it out in the comments, or we'll figure it out later. I'm not sure. It does turn out that Brad himself was the one who had the parasite attached to him, which did make him irresistible to a potential mate. Even though Barbara says that this didn't affect their relationship, it totally did, as she tells Brad she needs to focus on her work, and then has already made plans with Mariner. It seems like Mariner has bonded with Barb a lot better, and they're better friends than Brad and her were right now. Meanwhile, back on the bridge, the alien who is not satisfied with the terms of the imploding moon is found out to be simply self-serving, as he's protecting his moon in which only he and his wife live on. Yeah, 2 people for an entire moon. And this is because they're rich. If the moon is destroyed, his moon will be affected by pollution from the main planet. With this said, Captain Freeman gives the order to start imploding the moon. The episode finishes off with everyone back as they were, almost a traditional ending in a way. Tendi and Rutherford are back aboard the Cerritos, while Mariner and Boimler are also looking back at events that had happened in the day. Of course, that's Star Trek Lower Decks Episode 5. Let's talk about some final thoughts on the overall episode before we round off this video. With this episode being introduced to us as a Brad has a girlfriend episode, I was skeptical about how this episode was going to go, but I have to say I really enjoyed what we got. I'm never a fan of these jealous boyfriend tropes in TV shows and movies, but this episode did it well by introducing a second element, being Mariner going into conspiracy mode, which of course gives us reference central. Personally, I'm not a fan of sci-fi episodes that have a romantic feel. Comedy and romance never really works out well for myself, leading me to find the scenes of Boimler and his girlfriend being all romantic rather cringy. But then again, that's just myself. I'm sure others who are currently watching this review and the episode will find it and maybe really enjoy those elements of the episode. I'll be interested to hear what you know, so do let me know down below in the comment section. The B-plot with Rutherford and Tendi was nice, but there isn't much substance there, but it did further show how lower down the Cerritos is in the fleet rankings. And it was nice having the engineer of Vancouver having enough with being on an epic starship doing all the fantastic important missions. There were some amazing references throughout this episode which fit within the Star Trek universe. We get some Enterprise references, which have been sorely lacking in New Trek. We also got a reference to our favourite Florida man, Charles Tucker III. I hope this means he survived his death in the final of Star Trek Enterprise. I think we was writing a video on that at some point. And also getting some Deep Space Nine references as well. Not only references, but actually seeing the station on screen. However, a small cameo, and then also seeing Starfleet officers in a grey uniform was just amazing. If Lower Decks is willing to do this, I wonder if we'll see a new Picard flashback uniforms in future seasons of Lower Decks. A man can dream. Also the Enterprise, just saying, come on. I have to say that the ending of this episode was almost a classical nod to the Next Generation, as you've come to expect from Lower Decks. The two Federation starships orbiting their completed mission, while the music plays, is almost straight out of a traditional Star Trek episode. I love it. That's it for our review of Star Trek Lower Decks Episode 5. Please share your thoughts with us on the 5th episode via the comment section below. We're now halfway through the first season of Star Trek Lower Decks, so I'm interested in your opinions on the season so far. Personally, I'm really enjoying it. The comedy doesn't exactly resonate with me, however I'm enjoying it as it's a nice, enjoyable watch. Definitely something to look forward to every Thursday. We'll be back with our references and Easter eggs video later on in the week, so if you did spot any yourself, do let us know down below in the comment section. But also don't forget, this Sunday at 9 PM BST, we'll be live on YouTube with our weekly live stream. Tune in and I hope to see you soon. If you're looking forward to keep up to date with the latest Star Trek news and more, make sure to hit that subscribe button to never miss a video. You can also follow our social media for daily updates on the Trek universe, or join our community Discord server to chat with like-minded Trekkies about the shows you love. Alright, that's everything for today. Thanks for watching everyone. I've been Captain Jack, and I'll see you next time. Live long and prosper, my friends.